Hey, I'm Matt Firor. I'm the game director on Elder Scrolls Online.
Talk about what your goals were heading into creating this online world of the Elder Scrolls mythology.
Great question. A lot of people ask that. Basically, we wanted to make a online role-playing game. So we wanted to take the best parts of Elder Scrolls, which is a single-player role-playing game, and kind of merge it in with multiplayer MMO type stuff. So it's a little more than Elder Scrolls with friends, but that kind of sums it up. We want to make sure that kind of both groups of players, MMOs have really passionate fans, and single-player RPGs have hugely passionate fans. So we wanted to make sure we had a game that appealed to them both.
What have you learned from the actual fans on the console side of the Elder Scrolls games that you're applying to the online world?
We haven't really explored the console, PC, Elder Scrolls, stuff. Mostly it's the fans of the Elder Scrolls that are really talking to us right now on the boards are the ones that really care about the lore. And Elder Scrolls has tons and tons and tons of lore. So there's a lot of conversation about, since we're 1,000 years in the past, how we're utilizing things, how we're doing parts of the game that you haven't seen in a long time. So most of the conversation's about the lore more than the gameplay.
But the one thing about this franchise is it has appealed to both the hardcore and the very mainstream. What's the challenges of trying to bring that over to the MMO world?
Yeah, that's games like Skyrim and Oblivion. Yeah, they really crossed over because you could play them hardcore, you could play them casual. They were fun. You could go at your own pace. That's kind of some of the things we wanted to bring into the MMO. Is you can go from quest hub to quest hub if you want, but you can just explore if you want also. So if you're an MMO player that's used to kind of more guided content, having NPCs tell you where to go, you can do that. We have that. But we also have a mini map and compasses and icons on the map like Skyrim, and if you see one, you can just go over and do it. You don't have to have an NPC tell you to go there. So kind of you can do it both ways.
How have you been seeing people play with the beta as it's been unfolding?
Everything you have just said is what people do in the beta, which is some people play it some way, some people play it the other. Some people, type feedback, which is like, the content's way too guided, I wanted more exploration, not realizing that they could actually just walk over and do something, because they would find an NPC to guide them there. But generally, if you see something cool like a cave, you don't need an NPC to tell you to go into the cave, you just go to the cave.
What has the feedback been like in general when it comes to the beta, and what are you learning from it?
It's a beta, so there's tons and tons and tons and tons of little things that, polished stuff that we'll be working on for a long time. But the general basics of the game, people love. They get the, kind of mouse-driven, action-y combat system. In an MMO, they get the Elder Scrolls universe. So all of that stuff is doing great.
When it comes to the universe, can you talk a little about, you already mentioned 1,000 years prior to Skyrim, but talk a little about this world and how deep you're going with this.
Yeah, so if you're not an Elder Scrolls super lore fan, you won't know a lot of this. But basically, the other Elder Scrolls games, there's been 5 of them, have kind of taken place in about 20 years of game history, except for Skyrim, which took place 200 years after Oblivion. We're 1,000 years before that, so we're kind of the precursor, the prequel to the other ones. So what really it means is in Tamriel, the continent where all this takes place, we're set in the time when there's kind of no central authority, no empire, a lot of warring states that are trying to fight over the Imperial City. So if you remember from the other Elder Scrolls games like Oblivion and Morrowind, the Empire was like this unifying group led by an emperor, and that doesn't exist in our time. So that's the key difference.
When it comes to customization, that's been a big part of this franchise on the console and PC. Can you talk a little about how deep it is on the online side?
Character customization, or yeah. So what people remember the most from Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim is that basically the way you play your character is the way you develop your character. We definitely have that. You can pick up any weapon you see, you can wear any armor, you pick up. As you use things, you get better with them. So we do have classes, but those are mostly ways to get you kind of oriented into thinking and give you some basic abilities, but you're not tied to those abilities. You can learn new ones, you can pick up a weapon. If you start as a dual wielder, you can switch up to two-handed anytime and start learning those abilities as you use it. Very, very much in line with what people would expect from an Elder Scrolls game.